Let's start with a few instructions. They will help you smoothly navigate through the course. This course is structured in 5 lessons, which will cover a quick recap of the UiPath ecosystem, an overview of the security concerns that usually arise from RPA usage, and the features and guidelines that need to be considered when it comes to UiPath Studio, Robot, and Orchestrator. At the end of this course, you will be able to recognize the potential security risks associated with robotic process automation, RPA, in your organization. Understand the features implemented in each component of the UiPath solution to mitigate security risks. And apply best practices to strengthen the security of each component of the UiPath solution. Before touching on security features and guidelines, let's quickly review the UiPath product architecture. As you can probably remember, the UiPath solution consists of Studio, Robot, and Orchestrator, each of them having a specific function. Studio is where the magic happens through the design of automation workflows. Robot executes the activity or process designed in Studio, while Orchestrator controls the robots in the production environment and the execution of the tasks. Studio and the robots function within the client's infrastructure, with Studio installed on the developer's station, and the robots on a Windows server or Windows desktop machines, both real and virtual, depending on the automation scenarios. Orchestrator is hosted on a web application server, so the clients can access it through a web browser with designated credentials. Orchestrator comprises several layers: the presentation layer, or the interface we access using the browser, the service layer, allowing for API calls, and the persistence layer, where relevant information and events are stored and logged. The persistence layer is generally built using SQL Server and Elasticsearch. The client may choose one of them, or even different solutions altogether. We'll provide more details about this topic in the next sections. When you're ready, select the Next button on the right to go to Cloud Deployment. It is important to remember that Orchestrator can also be deployed in the cloud. If that is the case, the connected robots can be located either on the premises or in the cloud. If the robots are on the premises, they must be able to reach the Orchestrator by the URL when it's deployed in the cloud. As it's not recommended to expose Orchestrator to the internet, a VPN connection between the robot network and the Orchestrator network should be created. If both Orchestrator and robots are in the cloud, they should be in the same subnet, VNet for Azure. Can you identify the potential risks associated with a typical RPA project? Select all the options that apply. That's correct. All the listed options are potential risks that a company must consider when implementing an RPA project. When you're ready, select the Next. UiPath is committed to providing its users with a secure RPA experience, and to this end, it has developed specific security features and guidelines for each of its product components. We will discuss each of them separately. However, before doing so, it might be useful to differentiate between features and guidelines. Select each card to reveal more details. Let's see the features and guidelines that need to be considered when it comes to securing the automation in UiPath Studio. When you're ready, select the Next button on the right to go to Code Review. In RPA projects, the code review aims to ensure that the process that will run on live data is safe and no security breaches are possible. In what areas of workflow automation do you think the code review has an impact? Select Yes or No for each area. Studio and implemented through Orchestrator. There are two ways of publishing packages from Studio to Orchestrator. If there's a direct connection between Studio and Orchestrator, a project can be directly published through Studio. If there is no connection between Studio and Orchestrator, the package must be published locally from Studio and uploaded manually to Orchestrator. Choose between the direct and indirect publishing options. Then, select each step of the process flow to learn more. In any organization, it is standard to isolate the development, testing, and production environments. How can this principle be applied to RPA projects? Select all the options that apply. The listed options are highly relevant in ensuring the isolation between development, testing, and production environments. They also ensure proper change control procedures prior to promoting package versions to production. This guarantees that RPA developers do not have access to the production environment. Such rights enable them to adjust robot settings or upload packages to Orchestrator. It is also recommended that developers and reviewers do not have overlapping roles. Typically, automation packages are created and modified by developers, while package versions are prompted to the robots in a specific environment by the reviewers. When you're ready, select the Next button to go to version control. How can we keep track of users' activity and any other changes throughout RPA projects? Select each card to find out. And when you're ready, select the Next button on the right to move to the Robot Security lesson. Before delving into the specific security measures, let's take a look at some general considerations regarding the way robots work from a security perspective. Select each card to reveal details. Let's now see the features and guidelines that need to be considered when it comes to securing the automation in UiPath Robot. When you're ready, select the Next button on the right to go to Storing Credentials. Robots may need usernames and passwords to authenticate to various automated applications in their work. These credentials should never be stored as plain text. It is very important to store them encrypted. UiPath offers two out-of-the-box methods of storing them: Orchestrator Credential Assets and Windows Credential Manager. Select each icon to learn more about their key security features. If the robot indeed utilizes credentials and sensitive data in its work, it becomes a trusted environment together with the machine on which it is running. A good practice would be to limit the usage of sensitive data to the trusted environment. Since that's not possible all the time, the developer should consider different means to protect the data. Select the highlighted button to find out what they are. Environment isolation is a common recommendation for all development projects, so it applies to RPA projects as well. The development, UAT, and production environments should be isolated. Select each icon to find out how this principle applies to robots in the development and production environments. How can a package be secured on the robot machine? Select each step of the process flow to find out. And when you're ready, select the Next button on the right to move to the Orchestrator Security lesson. As you may remember from earlier sections, Orchestrator is built on layers: the presentation layer, accessed via browser; the service layer, containing the business logic; and the persistence layer, containing the database where the events and relevant information are stored. Select each card to learn more about some of the security features contained in each layer. Let's now see the features and guidelines that need to be considered when it comes to securing the automation in UiPath Orchestrator. When you're ready, select the Next button on the right to go to Retrieving Credentials. How does Orchestrator retrieve credentials for robot? Select each step of the process flow to find out. There are two predefined roles in Orchestrator: Administrator and Robot. But other roles can be configured by the administrators, such as Developer, Support, and Business. Select each card to reveal the key features for these user roles. Also, keep in mind that other roles can be created according to specific needs, but the rule here is to limit as much as possible the access only to the components that are required for the role in question. Sometimes, more customers need to use a single instance of Orchestrator, but isolate their datasets for data sensitivity purposes. This is where the multi-tenancy feature comes in handy. Multi-tenancy is a feature of Orchestrator that allows complete separation of data among tenants, providing a dedicated share of the instance, including its data, configuration, user and role management, up until license management. As in any software multi-tenancy architecture, the isolated item can neither be shared between entities nor moved from one entity to another. According to the use cases of customers, there can be situations where this functionality is applied to distinct departments or business units of the same company, providing all the mentioned multi-tenancy features. The audit page displays the audit trail for actions performed by all clients connected to Orchestrator, users from within a browser, robots, programs, and scripts using Orchestrator API. It allows for filtering by components and actions, and it can also be a very useful tool to track down malicious attempts to change the runtime parameters of the robots in Orchestrator, credentials, assets, queue items, etc. You might need to see which actions have been performed by the robots and when. Therefore, we recommend capturing the log messages. The messages logged by the robots can be stored in SQL Server database or in Elasticsearch, in both or in none. In case you choose neither SQL Server nor Elasticsearch, you can pick up a different target, like MongoDB, Splunk, MySQL, or even a simple text file. Between Elasticsearch and SQL Server, we recommend the former, as it was designed to store and index large volumes of data. Millions of documents, log messages in our case, can be easily searched for and identified when required. If you choose Elasticsearch, we recommend using the XPack plugin to protect access to data, because it allows you to configure user access on roles and tenants. What are the ways of authenticating the users on the Orchestrator platform and the prerequisites of a fully secured communication? Choose between options and prerequisites, then select each icon to find out. Also, keep in mind that for all authentication types below, the token is stored in a cookie. For the robots which use a token-based authentication, the token is retrieved at each call and is passed through the HTTP header. The Orchestrator platform offers multiple account security settings, such as account lockout, expiring passwords, password history, and prevention of multiple simultaneous logins per user. Select each card to find out more details. What are the measures implemented in Orchestrator that are designed to protect data in transit and data at rest? Select each icon to find out. Congrats! You have successfully completed the UiPath Security training. You may now exit the course. Until next time, happy automation!